The National Black College Alumni Hall of Fame presents our 30th Anniversary Celebration and Induction Ceremony, featuring the honorees for Chairman's Award, Athletics, Business, Civil Rights, Community Service, Education, Faith and Theology, Government, Law, Arts and Entertainment, Lifetime Achievement, Medicine, and Science. In this segment, we feature Chairman's Award.
Again, while it is the last, it is not the least, I'm going to ask our inaugural recipient if he'll just come stand with me as I introduce the recipient of the Chairman's Award, an award that selection made by our board for an individual who just didn't fit any category, but did so much in so many categories. And so while I prepare to bring on that honoree, Dr. Vivian, if you will just join me here, that this is my hero. This was the inaugural recipient of the Chairman's Award. And let me tell you a secret. See, he was supposed to induct Elizabeth Omalami, but she was his baby and Andy's baby, so Andy figured since he got the mic first, he was going to induct Elizabeth Omalami. So we just let them go ahead and do their partnership. But as I now bring to the stage a man who is a hero from Katrina, who has been a mentor, who again from his days in Winston-Salem State has never stopped making a difference for people. I'm going to bring to you, again, first let's roll the video because the video says it all, and then I will bring the Chairman's Awardee for 2015. Please observe this video.
You know, I can't get anything done by myself. I have to have great relationships with the business community, the not-for-profit community, the faith-based community, and not only partnerships, but people who actually step up to lead. Not everybody steps up, and very few people step up the way Michael Smith has stepped up, no matter what it is that I've asked him to do.
Well, he inspired me, and I think the rest of the city, by coming back after Katrina and doing what he did. He became what was called a beacon of hope for recovery. Inspired most of us to say, well, we can do this. We may be on our knees, but we're not on our back.
I wouldn't have opened the Hyatt Regency without Michael. Michael was the ingredient I knew that had the fortitude, the compassion, and the abilities to run a first-class, world-class hotel in a complicated city.
The nation saw the blown out windows in this particular building. And Michael was one of the people that never left, not ever. Not only during the storm did he not leave, he never left even though the Hyatt had to shut down for some time. And his willingness to stay, his willingness to lead, his willingness never to give up on the city of New Orleans was one of the great inspirational stories of Katrina.
The Make It Right Foundation was the culmination of many years of certainly work, of determination, of persistence for Michael. The lower Ninth Ward was impacted by the homes. Over 80,000 homes were destroyed, and Make It Right, as well as several other organizations, played a tremendous role in helping real families get back on their feet with viable and sustainable housing.
You don't become the leader of the Hyatt Regency New Orleans by chance. Michael has made a difference everywhere he's gone, and because he's been so successful, he wound up as being the leader of one of Hyatt's biggest properties throughout the world. Entergy's
sponsorship and partnership with the Mayor's Mass Ball for the United Negro College Fund was a result of Michael Smith's persistence. Michael literally cornered me with an idea. Rod, I have an idea. And anytime I hear Michael tell me, Rod, I have an idea, the first thing I do is locate my wallet and hide it, because I know it's going to involve support, usually for some very worthy cause.
We've all looked at his systems and looked at education in a different way. It's good to say, well, we educate people from kindergarten to high school, but in this day and age, you've got to take another step. and that other steps all go as far as you can go. And if you don't have the money, hopefully somebody will help you, and that's what Michael did.
Whether it's civic boards, whether it's the Super Bowls, whether it's New Orleans competing to build a world-class airport, education reform, or in most recent years, support for education, Michael has been at the forefront. And the best example that Michael gives is the one that he leads day in and day out.
I like his commitment. I like his undying and unyielding commitment to the people of the city of New Orleans and using the position that he has to make other people's lives better. It's really spectacular. It's something that everybody in this country should emulate.
I call him one of my heroes. I think he is a hero of recovery, and the past in terms of what he has done in his field as a hotelier, unbelievable.
Any narrative about the future of New Orleans and New Orleans Renaissance and recovery from Katrina, that Michael, and the story of Michael Smith and the Hyatt will have to be a chapter in that story. That story is going to be told by anybody and everybody with the exception of Michael.
In 1975, the motto, "We enter to learn, we depart to serve." I listened to Ambassador Young today at lunch, and he said a lot of similar things. We learned at Winston-Salem State University how to socialize, we learned about living together, we learned about survival and competing, we learned about ourselves personally and professionally, we learned about our past and our future, we learned about responsibility, we learned about separation. We entered to learn, we departed to serve. 40 years ago, this month, I began my freshman year at Winston-Salem State University. I'll never forget that motto. It mesmerized me, or may I say brainwashed, or better still, it branded me. During my 4 years at Winston-Salem State University, I pledged Omega Psi Phi fraternity. I served in the Student Government Association. I played in the marching band prior to the CIAA, and I also started working for Hyatt Hotels and Resorts. Little did I know that these were prerequisites to prepare for me to succeed in life. I knew my responsibility, and that was to serve. I'm excited to be here tonight as from a historical black college, and more specifically, a graduate of Winston-Salem State University. But it takes me back to 1973 at Goldsboro High in the guidance counselor's office to discuss career planning. You see, she strongly suggested that I go to vocational school or the military. Now, not that I have anything against those paths, trust me. I told her, well, I think I want to go to college. She laughed at me. And in an emotional outburst, I said, what the bleep, bleep, bleep is funny, and what the bleep, bleep, bleep is humorous. Well, Pat Best, the president, came by at that particular moment and said, Michael, that's not you. Why don't you go home for the day? And by the way, Jessie May will hear about this. When I got home, my mother asked me what happened, and I told her. She said, Michael, she's right. You can't go to college. You see, my mother had a 10th grade education, and I love her with all of my heart, but she never thought college was an option. So I proceeded to make the dean's list the next 11 quarters, got a scholarship to Winston-Salem State University because I knew I had a chance. And the reason that I knew I had a chance is North Carolina has more historical black colleges than any state in the nation. This gave me hope. So,
People ask me why I attended Winston-Salem State University. Well, in addition to the scholarship, it was simply a matter of numbers. 17-1. 17-1. Now, North Carolina A&T, I know they're in the house, they had 9-1. St. Aug had 8-1, and North Carolina Central had 7-1. So you probably know I'm talking about females to male ratio. I had a different decision-making criterion at 18 years old. All jokes aside, HBCUs today, some have 76% females. There are only 5 HBCUs that is even proportionate. I can make humor of 40 years ago, but the African-American male dynamic is worse. There are more African-American men incarcerated than there are in colleges today. We know that statistic. In New Orleans, 53% of all African-American males between 18 and 25 that college age are unemployed. I would say that's an epidemic. The remedy is education. The equalizer is education. HBCUs has a responsibility to go out and recruit not only athletics, but in STEM, business, and beyond. You see, we have to improve those ratios, or the African-American male, as we know it, can be extinct. Now, HBCUs are about pride and tradition, and we heard it all night long. President Obama made a proclamation for 2020 to establish aggressive goals for HBCUs to grow their numbers. So that cements the tradition. However, I remember in the 70s when the University of North Carolina school system tried to change the name of Winston-Salem State University to the University of Winston-Salem, University of North Carolina at Winston-Salem. Can you imagine the University of North Carolina at Elizabeth City, the University of North Carolina at Fayetteville, the University of North Carolina at Livingston? We all protested and we leveraged our power. We leveraged our power and we leveraged our network. Presidents and chancellors, I draw inspiration from you all, and I'm learning this process more and more and more. But I want to share a story with you. One of my mentors is Dr. Norman Francis. As you know, he just retired this year as the longest standing president of the university, not just a historical black college, but a university in the United States at 47 years, a true legend. I was in his office one day, and he said, "Mr. Smith, excuse me, I need to take this phone call." It was from Senator Mary Landrieu. And of course, I'm eavesdropping, and I heard him articulate his vision for a few initiatives. And as he was talking, I found it to be extremely powerful because he was Dr. Francis. About 6 months later, Senator Landrieu did legislation to relieve $200 million in loan modifications because of Hurricane Katrina. 6 months later, in 2014, she, in a hostile political environment in Washington, D.C., secured $224 million for over 100 HBCUs, plus an additional $8 million in previously scheduled cuts. About $450 million. Those were the things Dr. Francis was telling her on that phone call. It transpired a year later. We talk about leveraging our network. Well, there are 350,000 students at historical black colleges. 350,000. We need to lobby the U.S. senators and Congress. We need to lobby the state representatives and senators, and we need to lobby the mayors and the local city councils for our own very special interests, HBCUs. They need us, and we need to make them know that they need us. As it pertains to future growth, the formula for growth and sustainability above and beyond President Obama needs to include valuing, understanding, and appreciating cultural diversity. We have to connect global citizens, LGBT, and of course the African American male to the foundation of women that we already have. We need to work closely with our leaders, like Dr. Francis did with Senator Landry. We need to fundraise, and more fundraise. This requires pure play leadership, horizontally and vertically, across all platforms to brand HBCUs. In closing, I would like to say thank you to Hyatt Hotels and Resorts for giving me the latitude and autonomy to be a difference maker. I appreciate the support over 37 and a half years of all the associates I work with, including my dear friend and colleague, Peter McMahon, General Manager of this legendary hotel. The numerous hotel owners who I've worked for over the years, including my partner and dear friend, Chris Robinson, my mentor for over 25 years, Tommy Deutsch, and my wife, Yolanda, who has given me unconditional support, her inspiration, and she's my spiritual companion. Lastly, I want to thank the National Black College Alumni Hall of Fame. This is an incredible honor for me, and I share this with the millions of alumni from HBCUs across the nation, those that have led at the forefront of their industries and communities over the last 30 years and beyond. May we continue to extinguish the opportunities that threaten us and ignite the possibilities that await us. Thank you.
We hope you've enjoyed this special edit for Chairman's Award. Please visit our website or call us to participate and or sponsor this worthy cause.
The 30th Anniversary Celebration and Induction Ceremony.
Thank you again from the National Black College Alumni Hall of Fame.